Howdy, howdy, y'all. How are we doing today? Welcome to the latest installment of Ali, episode 9. What is happiness? This is going to be a good episode, I can already tell, because the subject matter is actually pretty damn positive, if I do say so myself. Usually doesn't happen like this, but I'm glad to know that you guys are actually interested in something that isn't about, some bad shit every now and then. I find that to be really encouraging when I think about the state of the world, that there are people that are looking for positivity and happiness. So, with that being said, I guess it brings us to our subject of discussion for tonight. Ali episode 9. The question of the day is, what is happiness? And I guess I'll start off with my answer to this, which I don't feel is as straightforward as you all think, as you all probably know by now. It's never usually as straightforward as you all like. But I think the answer that I have for this is like this. To me, happiness is a state of being. It is an emotion. And it is something that we all tend to strive for, but we should not aim to be there perpetually. Let me explain what I mean. If you were always happy for your entire life, meaning you woke up every day and you felt happy, go to sleep, you feel happy, during the day, whatever activity you're doing, you feel happy. Now, typically, we discuss happiness as if it's something that you should have all the time. As if it's something that you could just live with for the rest of your life. And I guess it's something that we all strive for. And of course, we could all say that it's something that we'd want more of in our lives, but I do present this question to you. If you were happy all the time, what would your life actually mean? So when I say that, I mean to say this. For me personally, I feel that when it comes to life, it will always consist of waves and troughs, however you pronounce it, ups, downs, roller coaster shit, right? But I also think that in order for us to be truly happy, we have to understand what it means to be sad, or what it means to be without, or even what it means to suffer. Because of course, you can say that you're happy day in and day out, but what does that mean if you have never suffered? And Jordan Peterson, the guy that I just showed you guys earlier with the book, The 12 Rules of Life, that's what it is, 12 Rules for Life. He describes life as suffering, as a state of always suffering. Maybe not always, but it's basically a requirement that you have to have. And he goes on to elaborate the reason why for this. And I've always found it extremely interesting because our suffering does really give things context. It really gives us, magic word incoming, perspective. And it gives us something to avoid for the most part. So when people say that,
how do you deal with these things? And a lot of it is every morning I wake up and I tell myself, and I have to do this. This is something that I have to do every morning. I tell myself, this is another day that I get to live. Yeah. Because it's not something that you're granted. You're not granted another day. You're not even granted another hour, another minute.
Yep. But it's so crazy.
Every day I wake up to that thought of my eyes open again. What am I going to be able to do to give back for having that extra day, for having that extra hour? I put every bit of possible positivity that I can into things because, granted, you're tempted by the world. You're tempted by talking shit, you're tempted by doing all these things. But at the same time, for me, making people happy by doing that one random act of kindness, by, you know, making sure that they're all set up with things, by doing things like that, I find my happiness, I find my peace. And it's not the same for everybody. Your inner happiness could just be playing video games. I know for a long time that was mine. It could be playing music. For a long time that was mine. And it still, those things still do make me happy, but there's always an overarching thing. Every little action that you do will start to bring you towards a center for yourself, a center of what defines your aspect of happiness. And I use aspect very diligently because it is that. This is a core to your development. You have your happiness, you have your anger, you have your depression, you know, you have your sadness. Like, you have all of these things inside of you, but there's one that always has to compete with everything else, and it is happy. Because we always remember the negative, we always remember the bad things that happen, we always remember the things that don't go our way, but we rarely remember the things that go right. We rarely remember that random one act of happiness or kindness that led to you being happy. It could just be someone helping you out by cooking meals. I'm not even kidding. Like, that is the smallest thing. And you're going to remember a fraction of it compared to the things that you deem unfortunate. And that's something that everybody will struggle with every single day.
All the time.
Overcoming everything that's negative in the world and seeing that it doesn't matter what weight presses on you. Remember that you have that extra day. Remember that you have all these things around you. You have so much opportunity around you that you can create your own happiness every single day.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but
yeah.
All right, so my question for you is this then, right? Would you say that happiness is a state of, I guess, eternal bliss, or would you say that happiness is more so synonymous with meaning and purpose?
I would say I don't think it's an eternal bliss, because to be an eternal bliss, I don't think we would be alive or in a state where we can actually enjoy it. Because to me, that, you know, that signifies you're either extremely high
Extremely.
or extreme, like they got you hooked up to the real good stuff, the military grade stuff, okay? That, or you're not in this world anymore, you know? And that to me is the idea of eternal bliss, because if we were able to have eternal bliss, we wouldn't be able to live in this world, to be honest. You have to think about it. If you got even a taste of eternal bliss, would you want to be here?
I don't know. That's tough. That's really tough. That's really tough, because a lot of, like, because you're basically being asked which of the two hells you prefer. You know what I mean? Because let's say that you did have this eternal bliss. Well, would you really want to be always happy all the time, forever and ever and ever and ever?
You can't be.
You know what I mean? Like do you see like how like,
because of the way
paradoxical that is?
Or because of the way our world works, there is not 100% eternal happiness. There is no possible way with the different minds of every single human being on this world. That's why I say, even if you got a taste of it, you wouldn't want to be here. You would try to correct it. You would literally be Thanos. You'd be like, hold on, let me think. Let me make the decision. Let me decide what is happiness. And that can't be eternal bliss. I'm sorry, it can't be. You get a glimpse of it, and you have to put yourself back into the perspective of, if I go down this path, someone else's happiness gets thwarted. Someone else's happiness gets stomped out. And that's 100% true. If you choose to be 100% happy every waking moment, you choose to have a positive thought, you will extinguish someone else's happiness because you have to feed off. It's an addiction.
This is good. All right. So here's one more question for you, then you could give your closing statements, right? So my question for you is this. What would you say, what would be your best advice when it comes to, let's say somebody asked you, so how do I become happy? How can I be happier? What is your best advice for someone asking that question?
Yeah, definitely. Like, so I didn't call in last week, but I'm someone that suffers from severe depression, and it fluctuates. And a lot of the time, a lot of tips that I would say is getting help. Like, it doesn't matter if it's professional help or it's just finding someone that is willing to listen, a friend, a family member, a loved one. It doesn't matter who it is, just getting someone to listen and start to help you process your own thoughts. Try out new things. Try to go to places that you haven't been. Keep yourself in a state of finding something that you can be happy. And that, that's I'm gonna be cheesy. That's the pursuit of happiness. It is finding something that you can pursue at any given moment, and that you may or may never find, but the pathway to that happiness is something that along the road you meet people, you do things, you forge happiness within that. And that's something that you can remember. That's something that you can take back on. You can say, I remember that one time when we went to the falls and we took some great pictures. That's a happy moment.
Yeah.
And that can keep you going.
So
because once you stop moving forward, you can never take another step forward. Once you give in to giving up on your pursuit, you can't start taking more steps forward. You have to get help.
What I would say is like basically hand in hand with that very thing that you brought up with like thinking about the thing that keeps you going. Gratitude.
Yeah.
I'd probably say like I feel like gratitude and happiness go hand in hand. Like for example, when you look at people that have way less, like if you're in America, you're already in like the top percent of rich people in the planet Earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you look at it from that kind of lens, you can see people in other places that have infinitely less than you do, but yet their happiness levels are like off the charts, right? And you find out the reason why is because their gratitude levels are off the charts too. You know what I mean? Like happiness and gratitude go hand in hand. They really do.
I mean, it is all about someone's personality. Like when you see someone that can smile, and not necessarily like, oh, smile for me kind of thing. No, it's like when you see someone can have a glow and an excitement in their face for just living, that's when you know that they've been on that pursuit. That's when you know that they have found some happiness in their life that keeps them going every single day.
They're just happy to be here.
They're just happy. Because I firmly, going through everything that I went through with, my whole, mental health situation, I found out how important, well, laughter is. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Going into, what I changed my argument to be, since LT wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Laughter is a form of happiness. I believe there's short-term happiness and long-term happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Laughter is, extremely short-term, because in the moment that you laugh, your body, lets out this,
Weird ass
sound.
noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because you're feeling happy, and I feel like at the moment of, happiness, when you laugh, you pretty much forget about all of your troubles at that exact moment. So me knowing that, my, goofy self can help others, forget about their problems, even if it's temporarily,
Mm-hmm.
that, like, oh my God, I'm shaking. But
Hey, it's a
like,
power. It's a superpower, honestly.
like, that's exactly how I feel. Like, I can do that. That I'm trying not to curse.
No,
That
do it.
stuff is
That
like, you
stuff
got.
is. It's too
I
late
gotta
for me.
BET censor myself. But
All
yeah,
right.
like, I believe, like you said, and Otia said, like, happiness is definitely a state of mind. But I
Mm-hmm.
believe, it's not something that you can, permanently, be in the state of course, because, you'd be insane. But
You
yeah,
would
I
be insane.
believe, yeah, just off the, you know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
it's just, what was I gonna fucking say? I'm nervous as shit. Might be.
Nah, you're good. Think about it, right? You were talking about how happiness is basically your gift is to give people the gift of happiness no matter what they're going through, at least if it's for the
Yeah,
current moment when they're laughing.
yeah. It's
So,
just because when people think of happiness, they think it's, the pursuit of
mm-hmm.
happiness. That saying is, like, very popular. But I feel like you can be happy um without having to like pursue something. It's weird because it's a mental state, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you think that you have to do this and that. Like, I feel like when people mention pursuing happiness, they mention it's like pursuing their dreams that
Mm-hmm.
will in turn make them happy,
Mm-hmm.
rather than pursuing the actual happiness.
Mm. So pursuing the state of being versus pursuing the material.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Well, that's my opinion, because I have to come up here and say something different before I get edited out.
Yo, this is what I'm
But
talking
yeah.
about, man. This is the guy, yo.
but that's, I thinking about it, last minute changes. Oh,
Gosh.
there it
No,
goes.
no, no, no. Go ahead, go ahead. Finish what you were saying. You ain't
No,
getting
but
out of
yeah.
this that easy.
But yeah, just sitting here and thinking about, what I don't think I've really asked myself the question, and that's why I'm thankful for these questions that you have for your show. As it's weird in a sense, because
Thank you, by the
a
way.
lot of the questions that you have are like, I think we're in, as humans in the civilization that we're in, we're all like, bam, 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 bam. We don't really get to stop and think about
The
stuff
little
like this.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was in that bubble, and then I kind of remembered, my mother. I don't know. This became so important to me, and I never knew. But my mother told me never stop asking questions, and I didn't really take it to heart until now. You know what I mean? But I see why it's so important.
And now it's needed,
Yeah.
because with the with the internet being the way that it is, and with more and more people, being vocal about their mental health, I feel like they should, everyone here, just not only listening, but you should ask yourself the question as well. And exclamation point Discord, if you want to talk about it and converse. Like, I feel like, as like, even though we might say the same thing, we all have our unique experiences,
Yep.
and we get different perspectives on what happiness actually is.
Hey, keyword
But
perspective. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah,
No, I just say it a lot and like people give me shit for it, but like I really try to emphasize that that's a big deal. Like perspective is a big deal.
yeah.
And I feel like it's not really talked about enough. Like the fact that every single person in this world, in this Discord, outside, every single person has a different perspective of the world. That's important. You know what I mean? Especially if
Honestly.
you don't agree with it. That is extremely important. That means something, you know?
Yeah.
Because when you hear other people's perspectives, you can learn about yours
Exactly.
and why yours matters. It's real shit though, right? Like I'm not just,
Honestly.
I don't know. But
And
it's funny.
especially now, I feel like this is one of the most important questions, because you have, in the age of millennials, and a lot more people are being creative,
Mhm.
and in a world where you were taught to do this and that,
Mhm.
people are finding new passions every day, but because they don't think, at the end of the day they won't be happy if they pursue it,
Mhm.
is, I think, the most, when it comes to people growing up, or our generation, especially, it's the most important question that should be asked,
Yeah. It's not really considered.
because these are trying times, especially with the whole college and student debt, and everybody questioning what degree they should pursue versus, you know what I'm saying.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's kind of, it's wild.
And the pressure of your family, the
Oh,
pressure of
the
society.
OGs.
Yeah.
The OGs.
Yeah.
Because I would love for
What?
I would love for one of the mothers to come back and give
Yeah.
their perspective,
I know.
because I feel like it'll vary based on the generation.
I
Because
want to hit
maybe
up
the
my mom.
previous generation will be like, hey, happiness is you have a stable job, wife, kids, house, blah 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 blah. And yeah, I think it'll be very different than what our generation considers as happiness.
Last question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think a majority of our generation considers to be happiness? I think you touched on it, but I want to know what you think it is and why.
Our generation?
Yeah, what would you say is the standard of happiness for our generation and why you think that may be?
Memes. But
Shut up! Oh, God.
our generation, I feel like I said, in
It's low-key
just
kind of true,
supporting
though.
my argument, it's just like, happiness is a temporary state, and I feel like because more and more people are coming out about mental health, I feel like, as you see it a lot, people living their best life, you know what I'm saying, with
Yeah.
I feel like happiness is now slowly moving on from being an end goal to being something that we can obtain now as a temporary. Like I said, it's something, I feel like it's temporary. So living your best life, talking to people, loving those around you, I feel like, yeah, we're becoming more social. So I feel like definitely it might depend on other people, if that makes sense. If we're talking about us being social, a more social generation, social media, we're taking pictures everywhere, going out and living our best life, I feel like that would be close to the answer.
Okay.
At least our generation, moving on from getting a job, 401k and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
That's a little
So-
bit more positive than I expected.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I made that up all on the spot because.
Because I mean,
But
like
yeah.
usually when I think about our generation, like, or when I think about how other people perceive our generation, they would probably like if you asked an old person that, they'd probably say, "Oh, your version of happiness is taking photos for the Instagram, and and uh and what is it? Getting lit." You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
mean, but it
although
is
that
true.
is true.
You know
Although
what
it
I'm
is
saying?
true, you know what I'm saying? It's funny, but because you described it a lot, sort of take joy in the moment. And yeah, with that being said, we're going to go ahead to Earth is Flat. And I also have a response to read in the Discord as well. Two responses to read in Discord. So we're going to go to Earth is Flat. That's the name in the Discord, aka Liquid Nine Tails. And yeah, here we go. The Earth is Flat, aka Liquid Nine Tails. Welcome back to the A Ali Show, episode 9. How are we doing today?
Hi, I'm good. Oh no.
I'm sorry. Let me stop. All right, you ready for this?
Sure, I guess.
All right. So, what is happiness? What do you got for me?
So, Reezy said it earlier, but happiness is a fleeting emotion. I want to go off that.
Mm-hmm.
Just like any other emotion, like depression or anxiety. It's like you get glimpses of it, but it's never like always there. You
Mm-hmm.
don't always feel happy. So I can remember moments of like being very happy in the back of my head, but like I'm not always happy. I'm not always sad. I feel like the main emotion I feel is just being content most of the time when I'm
Mm-hmm.
not feeling being pulled one way or another. So I think that's what makes happiness really special, the fact that it comes you get glimpses of it and you're constantly chasing to actually like be happy. So I
Mm-hmm.
think happiness is a fleeting emotion, and I also think happiness is what drives humans to exist in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So like the reason people continue after a failure, the people or just people just don't quit or give up is like hope and happiness. I feel like happiness drives humans in everything they do almost. Like the American dream is it sells happiness. So a lot of immigrants would come over here through all those trials and tribulations for this American dream. Because I
Mm-hmm.
remember when the Haiti earthquake happened, there was a lot of people trying to come to Florida from Haiti and like makeshift boats and canoes, and they could like they would starve to death or drown. And even if they don't touch the soil, they'll be brought back. Even so, they would go through all that, spend all the money they had just to get here, so they can like have happiness and for their family, for themselves, to have a
Mm-hmm.
better life. So I feel like happiness just drives everyone to do what they want to do in life, like going to college, working jobs, like everything that everyone does is just so they could be happy one day, basically. If that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. And I was actually gonna bring up the point that what's actually really amazing about humans in particular, because there aren't, I don't know if there's any animals that do this, but as far as I know, we are the only animals that do this. When it comes to humans, what we do is we are able to not only predict the future, but invest in it. And that's something that not a lot of creatures do. And when I say that, I mean we are willing to forego current happiness and endure temporary suffering in order uh in hopes that it may become even better in the future. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's one thing, that's one feature about humanity that makes it really interesting and I guess very different from other animals, because we do measure our level of happiness by our potential for happiness in the future as well. And
Exactly.
it's something that you can see very easily with people that are heavy into either investments, that are very good parents because they believe in the power of good parenting, you know what I'm saying? Because that's an investment that you're making with your time and energy into the future. Basically anything like that. But
Yeah, I think parents are really good examples of that.
Also, J-Bay said that a lot of animals plan for the future. I'm actually curious to know which ones.
You know, like hibernation, they'll get their food ready for the winter and
Oh.
stuff like that. But I don't think they like
Oh.
forego like in the way that humans
Yeah.
do, where like I will go through all these trials and tribulations now
Yeah.
for the future. And even sometimes the future doesn't necessarily apply to you. I may not make it to the future. I might not be there, but
Yeah.
I want it to be there for the next generation and my kids.
Yeah.
So
What I
in that
mean
way.
is, like, do you see a squirrel like sacrificing an acorn so that he can plant a tree that'll grow in 20 years? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
do you see
They
a,
don't go to the
like,
extent of humans
that's
do.
that's kind of what I mean. Like giving something up in order to get something greater in the future, instead of knowing that, like, instinctually that a season is coming, and then hoarding as much as you can for now. I mean, like, literally, like, preparing for the future like that. But I see what
Yeah.
you mean, though. But
I think the civil rights movement is a good example of that because they didn't even know if what they were fighting for would be for them, if it would be for the next generation or the next one, but they just saw a future that they wanted and they gave up like all their happiness. They could have died, got put in jail, got like dogs sicked on them, all of that, just so they could have a future that may not even happen. I think that's a great example of it, that what humans do that you don't see in animals, thinking that far ahead.
oh shit. My bad. I accidentally, like, had another tab open. But yeah, I completely get what you're saying. It's one of those things that, would you say that our pursuit of happiness is what defines us?
Yes.
Like, our pursuit of happiness?
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you think it
I would think so.
do you think, like, that's a trait with sort of anything that exists on any level, or is it just humans?
Um, I feel like it's more humans than anything else because animals, they have instinctually, well, like, I need to live, like, I need to do these things to survive. And although we do that too, we take it a step further with happiness, like things that we don't necessarily need to live, like assets and stuff. We go a step further than animals do for happiness and setting up everything, like who we want to be with. We think about that like since we're a child and having kids, and we plan for that our like whole lives, a lot of us, in that American dream thing. So I think humans, like from a very young age, happiness really defines who they are and like what makes them happy and your dreams.
So here's my final question for you then. Do you think that we as humans are overly concerned with happiness? Do you think we put it on too high of a pedestal, so to speak? Or are we all right?
I don't think we put it on too high of a pedestal at all. I think we're perfectly fine. I think that's what makes humans interesting and beautiful. Everyone fighting for what they want to do. And I feel like it also depends on the person per se, because I'm sure for some people they probably take it too far, but then for other people, I feel like they don't. I feel like it depends on the situation.
Okay. That's a fair enough answer. Do you have any closing statements for the rest of the people in here? Anything that you want to leave them
No.
with?
Not really.
Yeah. All right.
Nah.
Well, that was Liquid Nine Tails coming in again and dropping the beautiful, beautiful human wisdom on planet Earth. Thank you for calling in today, yo. Seriously.
Thank you for having me.
Man, look, as always, it is a pleasure, and I appreciate you even taking the time to share your thoughts on this. So, thank you. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.
Catch you later.
All right, later, yo. Alrighty, so this is what we're gonna do. I don't know if Petty Reezy is gonna come in and actually speak, but I'm gonna bring him in anyways, and we're gonna surprise him. Hey, what's good, man? Huh? You
Hey,
here?
you a little too excited.
Ooh,
would
we
need you to
got
calm
Reezy
down.
does it. Okay, all right. Hold on, guys. I gotta give you a proper introduction.
First of all,
so
hold on. Oh, go ahead.
introducing the man, the myth, the legend, behind the keys with the instrumentals, them fat ass beats, hot ass beat, clap, your boy, Reezy does it. What's good, man? Welcome to the stream.
What is good, yo?
You finally did it. You defeated yourself today. You know that?
I guess I kind of did, but let it
You
be known
hella
I'm only
did.
doing it because Moon didn't.
All right. So it looks
I'll
like
be
Moon chickened out.
Yep.
All right, clean. Well, as you may know or may not know, this is your first time being on the show, but I will give you a total of 5 minutes to speak your piece. I will ask you questions.
Trust, I don't have 5 minutes. You can ask me questions.
All right, and that's what we will do. So, I just started the timer. Is there anything that you want to start off with, or you just want me to go ahead and go?
What is happiness to me?
Well, yeah, what does it
I'm
mean
still
to
kinda
you?
trying to
That's something
figure
that I
that
want to
out.
ask. That's the starting question. What does it mean for you,
I'm
Abby?
still figuring it out, but
Yeah?
what is happiness to me? What do I love? I love video games.
Mm-hmm.
I love my music.
Mm-hmm.
I love rubber. I don't know. That's tough.
So,
I found things to be grateful for, so that's tough to answer.
and it's hard to not think of things to be grateful for, though, too. Especially if you
Right.
consider everything that constitutes your life. Like,
Right.
everything, you know? Because there's people that start at level 100, and there's people that start at level -0, or -20. You know what I mean? But
Right.
even people at -20, Foxy, don't
Yeah,
say
you
shit.
did say -0.
I didn't say -0. Shh. Even people at -20 can still find something to be happy about. Even if it's just the fact that they're even in the game in the first place. You know what I mean?
Right, that's a big thing, and that's kind of what I've come to like realize that like even if I'm not particularly in the ideal situation, I'm still grateful to be here. There's still something I can do.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, man, there's so many people that aren't in an ideal situation, but we got to define what an ideal situation is too, because
That is true.
there's plenty of billionaires that are miserable, you know? There's plenty of
True.
people with completely like models, dude. My God. Models be so depressed.
Right,
Like,
and they look
so-
so good, and they seem to be
Bro.
living a life.
Bro, that's
So like, what is happiness?
not
Like,
speaking for
how do you
everybody, but
find
it's a facade, bro. Like, holy
Right.
crap. Yeah, man, like, you would be surprised at who's actually miserable
shit
and
is
who's
crazy.
actually happy. You know what I'm saying? And
That
that's
is
why I say it
crazy.
comes down to gratitude, bro. Like,
Right. Got to be grateful for what you got, and build from there.
and build from you. You fucking hold on.
Because
man.
the fact that you here, you can build from that.
Yep,
I'm
You
alive.
always
Build
can.
from it.
bro.
I'm gonna remember that too. I'm alive. Build from it.
Bro, man, hey, you know, hold on. Let me hit you with the. I had to hit you with the explosion. Let me hit you with some Ali the Ewoke emotes too. You already know, man.
I ain't
Hit you
woke
with
at
some
all,
woke.
bro. That's why I ain't call in, because I ain't woke.
You ain't woke? All right, bet. We all sleep. Let me stop.
We all sleep, yo.
I'm about to go Betty by nighttime after this shit, bro. But yeah, listen, man.
That's crazy.
Is there
But
any?
you know what would make me happy though? Hold up. I'm
Oh
gonna say
snap!
this on stream.
All right, I was gonna ask.
would
Is there
drop
any?
that song.
Is there any closing statements? You got it. All right, what you got?
If you would drop that song, sir.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Okay, this is not harass Ali time.
It
okay?
is harass Ali time, 'cause
Listen.
that makes me happy.
All right, guys, I will come
But
clean.
hold up, that's talking to you makes me happy. Knowing everybody in the chat, that makes me happy. Like, I appreciate this whole fucking thing. Like, you are my motherfucking guy.
Man, thank you, bro. I look so ugly, man. Stop, Foxy. Shut the fudge up, okay?
There you go.
No, man, cause
Mother
like,
lover.
nah, bro, like, cause, bro, just let me stop.
And we gotta hang out again too. For sure.
I
I'm
know.
trying to make it to TwitchCon actually.
TwitchCon, that's all.
I'm trying to get
Wow.
some funds, but it's far.
That's a
It's
whole
like 6 hours.
Yeah, that's I don't even know what's good with TwitchCon on my end, bro. I don't know. If look, yeah, TwitchCon's a whole. There should just be a whole talk about TwitchCon because I don't know. I
Right.
really don't know, bro.
That's a big commitment, yo.
Yeah, bro.
But even outside of that, we can hang out anyway.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
you're not that far. But yeah,
Right.
man. Thank you for
Must be
calling in,
nice.
bro. Okay, Foxy. She's done.
Foxy, you could come through too.
I'm been waiting, but she ain't trying to have
thanks,
another
pal.
kid.
Season finale, come through.
She's really not trying to have another kid. But anyways.
Oh,
Look, man, thank you for calling in, bro. Seriously appreciate it. This is his first time, you guys, and he did a
It's my
damn
first
good
time. I
job.
was kind of nervous, but then I realized it's just you, and we've already talked.
We just chilling, bro.
We just
Let me
chilling,
stop. But yeah, man, I'll holler at you. Thank you for calling in. All that
For
stuff.
sure.
It's been a pleasure, my guy.
Thank you for having me. Jeez.
All right, yo. Deuces. Also, I am not good at numbers, okay, Otia? I am not a mathematician. I'm not a calculator, so it's not gonna happen, all right? All right. We're going to get to Sadomi here, last person in line, and then I'm gonna read these 3 responses in Discord, and then we're gonna call it a night, all right? So, Sadomi, you are the last person of the night. Thank you so much for calling in. You're on the A Ali show, episode 9. What is happiness? How you doing?
Hey, Ali and
Oh.
family and
What's
peeps.
good?
Hey. Anyway,
You ready?
quick question? Are you happy?
Am I happy right now?
We'll say right now, yesterday, and moving forward. If that makes sense.
I'm happy currently. I was happy yesterday for the most part. And I think in general, actually, I've been extremely purposeful in my life. And that makes me happy. I feel like I'm doing things with a purpose. And that right there, that's what actually gets me going. So yeah, I'd say I am pretty happy in general.
Feels damn good, doesn't it?
It does. What about you?
Day to day, honestly, no.
No?
But I get moments where it's like, if I stop being the lazy fuck I am, and probably.
Lady, lazy. Let me stop.
No, see, I'm on BET. I'm on that Cinemax. It is
Oh, hey.
12:42.
All right, bet.
Not that, the other Cinemax. Not that Cinemax, the other Cinemax,
All right, clean.
But,
Are you ready to speak your piece?
yes.
All right.
I think one
Let's
thing I think
go.
about happiness, especially right now, and for me personally, is if I got everything I wanted tomorrow, I wouldn't be as happy if like I got it 5 years from now, after like I worked my butt off to get what I want out of it. Like no one who's ever happy made a change.
Ooh, snaps. Explain this one.
But if you're happy, you don't want to change anything. If you're unhappy, you want to change it.
Yeah. If you're discontent, you're going to want to change the situation somehow.
Good example. 200 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, us as black folk, literally, we unhappy, we change shit.
That's an interesting sentiment. You're probably the first person to bring up something like this. I want to investigate this further. So, wait, first of all, I don't want to cut you off. You have any
Oh no, it's a conversation, man. Go back.
All right.
Back.
So, I want to pick your brain about this a little bit. So, in your eyes, people that are not happy are the ones that incite change, right? I actually think I kind of agree with you on that for the most part, because there does take a certain level of being not content with the way things are in order to really enact change in your environment. You know what I mean? So I guess my question for you is, do you think that people who are not content are, I guess, well, will have a tendency to become important people later on? Or impactful people later on, I should say.
I think those are, well, one can definitely mean the other. As in, if you're unhappy, you do have the desire to change something, which could in effect change somebody else's, like, outview their personal, like, life themselves. But it doesn't automatically mean you're going to be like the next prophet or anything. It could be something as small as you hate, like, driving in traffic to work. So instead you leave 15 minutes early, or you leave 15 minutes later, whatever, you know, works for you. And in doing that, you may not, like, change the world by doing that, but you change yourself. Versus, like, somebody who, let's say, no one who wants to lose weight is happy at their current weight.
I see.
Yeah, but what they do could possibly inspire somebody else, saying, hey, that person is similar enough to me, maybe I can do that as well. So maybe they could become inspirational to that one person, or to even a group of people. It's just kind of like how different factors line up, I guess.
Okay, that's fair enough. And I'm gonna ask you, like, the flip side of that now, right? So do you think that people that are unhappy and no, I'm gonna word it differently. What do you think of people that are both unhappy and unwilling to change anything about what's happening, or unwilling to change, period?
So you described me, and legit, I can tell you, it's just a fear of trying.
Took 30 years off your life?
Yeah, so, like, let's say I was gonna, I know it's not guaranteed. Let's say I was gonna die at 100. I would eat. Well, you know, let's just make it more realistic. 75. I would take a death at 45 if it meant I could be like my current life, live until I was 45, then live the way I'm living now until I was 75.
So you want the life, like the life that you just described. You want that. You would gladly have that and die at 45?
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Honestly, dude, you could have that life of yours right now. Like, do you, like, I want to ask you, like, do you realize this, though?
Yes, but I think also kind of, like, eats at me, too. It's like, I look at, this is a personal thing of mine, too. I look at everyone around me, too. That's also why I deleted Facebook at that point, too, because I know all my friends are out of college getting new jobs. They were just, like, being new people, traveling out the country. And, like, I went to a school full of programmers and like, engineers. So, like, right now, they're making, like, they could buy my job right now. And they're still, like, my age, even younger. And I'm looking like, well, what am I doing with my life? So, you know, it's a personal hang-up.
Okay. Well, to be real, man, like, what you're asking for isn't actually that outrageous. And it's something that you could reasonably accomplish within the next few years if you wanted to be real, because what you're asking for is the life of, like, just the average American. You know what I'm saying? Like, a full-time job that pays your bills, and a love and maybe an animal that you take care of. I already have half of that right now. I got a dog, but the love part, I don't that'll come when it comes.
Luckily I have that right now. It's a whole, like, roller coaster that you won't be ready for, but when you're ready for it, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. This is nice. It's just nice. It's nice having that.
And it kind of helps with that roller coaster of life, going up and down, but at least you're going around with somebody, you know. But I do want to ask you this. Do you have any closing words of advice for anybody here? Or possibly, what would you say to your, what was it, 45-year-old, 35-year-old, 34-year-old self?
Yeah.
What would you say to yourself right now?
If I want to talk to the future?
Yeah. Imagine you look back on this. What would you want to hear?
I would first, I'll be like, homie, write notes. Give me your notes right now. I want to read all of them right now. I'm gonna start this right now. And tell me what's the next big boom in 5 years. So I can prepare for that.
Who is the next big boom?
Yeah, like, like who's the next Apple? Who's the next like Bitcoin kind of thing.
Okay.
Like early.
Who should I invest in?
Yeah, but on like more spiritual note, I would just probably ask myself like, I've always looked at it like I would tell my younger self instead of like my older self. My younger self, I wouldn't tell him shit, because then if I told them anything, they wouldn't be the person I am today.
Yep, exactly.
And even though I'm not like happy with like my situation, I am more happy with the person I am now.
He'd mess up the timeline.
yeah. So I'm like, if he's like, yo, what'd you do? How'd life go? I'm like, I ain't telling you shit.
Yep.
I ain't telling you nothing.
Okay. So if you had one thing to say to your older self, it would just be like, send back something.
Yeah,
send back something I can use.
Like give me like a rope. Give me something. Lord. Or just like, that the new console you got, toss it my way. I'm gonna sell that like the first day it gets announced.
I'm gonna flip it. Flip it on eBay.
I'm gonna flip it.
All right. Well, cool, man. Thank you for calling in, bro. Seriously, pleasure to hear from you. I'm about to read off these 3 responses in Discord, and I will holler at you later. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Thanks for having me again. Love the show.
Man, no problem. Man, I love you, man. Stop. You make me freaking blush. Shut up.
I mean, I would make you blush, but like,
stop. Oh my God.
That camera light.
You guys really trying to embarrass me. Oh my Lord. But all right, man. Thank you, bro. I'll catch you later.
Deuces.
Hiya. All right, guys. I'm gonna go back into my little man cave on the Discord, and I'm gonna go ahead and read you guys these 3 responses to the question today to close things off. All right, let's get comfortable. So right here we have a response from Zylentardzits. Man, I do not know how to pronounce this, to be honest. It starts with a Z, but this is what they said. To be honest, I believe happiness is twofold. The first part is the happiness you feel for the friends and family around you and how you want to see everyone you care about succeed. The second part is inner happiness, and that unfortunately is the hardest thing to attain because we are our own worst enemies, so we have to try and find the things that would make you feel happy and what makes you happy when you do it. That's how I feel, but I could be wrong, LOL. You could be wrong, but you could be right. And I think that's the best part about answering or asking questions. You know what I mean? So, silent artist, is that how you pronounce it? Silent. Oh, God. No. That can't be right. Oh, snap. All right. I guess it's silent artist. Well, silent artist, listen. You can be right. You can be wrong. But in this case, it doesn't matter. And I'll tell you why. Because I feel like when it comes to happiness, it's one of those things that you sort of have to define for yourself. And it's one of those things that I can't tell you what it means to you, and somebody else can't tell you what it means to you. It's one of those things that is kind of parts of those things of life that you kind of got to figure out as you go along. But I think you have a pretty good handle on it, to be honest. And to be real, I like this answer. Big Time Aaliyah says, the thing that makes me happy is half of social media and drawing. What I mean when I say half of social media is just the people that I talk to. The friends that I made in the Prodigy family. Hey, shout out to the Prodigy family. Ariana Tour fandom. Ariana Grande fans. Wrestling fandom. Every corner of my socials, I've met and spoke with people who, if I've met them in real life, I would do anything for, to be quite honest. They make me happy. And the ones that I keep real close to my heart, they make me the happiest. As for drawing, I feel as though it just lets me release this energy of creating for just myself and no one else. I feel as though when I draw, I'm in a free state of mind full of inspiration over that particular thing I choose to draw on that day. When I draw, I bring out the best in myself artistically. especially as a young adult going through so many emotions and situations. That is why the better half of social media and my love of drawing keeps me feeling happy when I deserve to be happy. I didn't know if that made sense, but yeah, heart. Aaliyah, that made perfect sense, and I completely get what you're saying. Listen, guys. Hey, don't criticize me. I see you guys in the chat, but I want to say that this is beautiful. The fact that you actually brought up your love of creating as a source of your happiness, which is something that nobody did today. Well, maybe it was kind of alluded to, but you explicitly mentioned that, and I really appreciate that, because creating is one of those things that give my life significance as well. I understand that completely as a content creator. And yeah, I'm glad that you were able to find communities that you actually resonate with and that vibe with you. That's extremely important. Like a feeling of belonging. That's one of those things that you just can't really ignore. It's one of those things that is, I guess, a staple of being a human. And now we're going to go on to the last answer of the night. Mama Foxy. Mama Foxy, so that means Foxy's mother. Okay. Happiness is a construct that is experienced through love, joy, peace, contentment, interest, pride, hope, gratitude, awe, inspiration, etc., and realized by experiencing pleasure, pursuing your purpose, and finding meaning in your pursuits. Enough said. As always, on point. Like, this is a really good one. I kind of want to pin that real quick. I'm gonna pin that. She's very eloquent. My goodness. I don't think there's anybody in here that would really disagree with that statement, to be honest. Watch us find out that it was actually Foxy and not her mom, and she just said that it was her mom in case we, roasted her for it or something. But all in all, guys, I think every answer that you guys gave me on this episode was completely valid and wonderful. All right, guys, it looks like the people of chat have officially voted on the next question for the ALE series. ALE episode 10, airing on Thursday, 8 p.m. PST, is going to be are animals equal to humans? With that being said, if you guys have an answer for the question of this episode, please like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and stay tuned for the next one. This is your boy Ali the Prodigy, and I'm going to be signing out for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.